foot rot. This is a bacterial infection which is caused by Diclobacter nodosus. Then this is a clinically well-defined contagious foot disease of sheep caused by the gram-negative anaerobic bacterium. Here, this is an obligate anaerobe. It will not survive in the oxygen environment. So this is an obligate anaerobe caused by Diclobacter nodosus. This is a gram-negative bacterium. And the Fimbria has for the classification of this bacteria into different serogroups, that is A to I and M. And the secondary invaders are very, very important for this foot rot, that is Fusobacterium necrophorum and the different Trima as well as the Truparella species. These are all the things that act as secondary invaders for this disease. There are number of virulent Diclobacter nodosus, especially highest in feet with interdigital dermatitis at very early stage than later stages. And sheep are the main host for this disease. Breeds are merinos and brown-headed meat sheep. Not only sheep, cattle also get infected with foot rot by co-grazing with the infected sheep. The synergism between Fusobacterium necrophorum, Truparella pyogenes, and Diclobacter nodosus. These three things are very, very important for the more occurrence or higher prevalence of this particular disease. So the Fusobacterium necrophorum, it secretes leukotoxin, which facilitates the survivability of Truparella pyogenes. So this Truparella pyogenes is nothing but Arcanobacter pyogenes, and the previous name for this is Corynebacterium pyogenes. So, and this Truparella pyogenes produce growth factors which favors the multiplication of Fusobacterium necrophorum. Similarly, this Fusobacterium necrophorum causes tissue damage which facilitates the action of Diclobacter nodosus, whereas Diclobacter nodosus produce growth factors for the multiplication of Fusobacterium necrophorum. So this Fusobacterium necrophorum is also an anaerobic organism. Diclobacter nodosus is also an obligate anaerobe, whereas Truparella pyogenes is the one which takes up whatever the oxygen, little oxygen that is available at the portion of lesion. Then what are the determinants of the disease that favors the occurrence of the foot rot? Host poor claw hygiene is one of the major determinant that helps the occurrence of this disease. Coming to the agent, virulence of the agent, extracellular proteases. So this is the bacteria which releases proteases, and these proteases are basic proteases and acidic proteases. Among the acidic proteases, acidic protease 2 is the one which is responsible for virulent foot rot. So virulent foot rot associated with APR2 and the type 4 fimbria. These fimbria are helpful for the organism for its attachment to the at the site of lesion. And environmental factors, moist environment, continuous rains, prolonged stay of the animals in the muddy areas, all these things favors the anaerobic environment of the foot, in turn leads to the multiplication of this organism, and infection with other microorganisms. All these things favor the occurrence of foot rot. So Diclobacter nodosus, it can persist in the wet soils up to 24 days. And low tenacity is found in dry environments. Under ideal conditions, both pasture and stables, the organism may stay contaminated, or the environment gets contaminated under ideal conditions, that is warm and wet conditions. Iatrogenic transmission of Diclobacter nodosus is also observed because of trimming knives. And there is no long-term immunity in the sheep after disease. So if the sheep gets affected today, cannot take it as a granted that this sheep is having lifelong immunity. There is no such guarantee for this infection. Clinical signs, incubation period is 2 to 3 weeks. Mild interdigital dermatitis, that is benign foot rot. Virulent foot rot. So in case of virulent foot rot, you can appreciate underrunning of the heel and separation of sole and abaxial wall, resulting in underrunning of the toe and complete separation of the hoof capsule. Animal shows very painful clinical signs. Sheep often stands on 3 legs and exhibit lameness and ambulation, lameness during walking on ambulation. Sometimes they eat while resting on their carpels, and distinctive strong foul odor is observed in case of foot rot. In rare cases, slow spontaneous healing may eventually occur. The hooves may remain deformed or show localized anomalies such as cracks and discoloration of the horn, but these animals, they act or remain as carriers and pose a great risk to the flock. So in this article, the author has given beautiful pictures related to the foot rot. The first one is a healthy foot, healthy dry foot. Then from second and third picture, the appearance of clinical signs start. The first one, humid and inflamed interdigital space with some hair loss. Then extensive skin inflammation, damaged horn in the interdigital space. Later on, detachment of the axial horn, that means inner horn wall, underrunning of the horn towards the sole. Underrunning expands to the outer horn wall, that is abaxial wall, and the pododerma gets affected. And the removal of hoof capsule, complete separation, and extended pododerma damage is observed. So because of this, the animal gets lot of pain, and generally these two animals are suffering with a severe foot rot. In one animal is standing on its 3 legs by folding the affected limb. The other one is grazing by resting on their carpels, that is by resting on their carpet. So how to differentiate this swelling, whether it is a foot rot or not? Generally, in case of foot rot, it is the symmetrical swelling that is appeared at the down of this axial midline. So this is with foot rot, and this is with bone infection. So uniform swelling is observed in case of foot rot. Coming to the diagnosis, samples to be collected are the swabs from the interdigital space. So this swab from the interdigital space, you can transport to the laboratory by using some transport medium, but the primary isolation is very, very challenging in case of foot rot. This is because this organism is a obligate anaerobe. That means it is a strict anaerobe, cannot survive in the oxygen environment. So for that purpose, try to collect the swab and immediately place it on a hoof agar plate at the site of collection itself is recommended. Otherwise, transport these swabs to the laboratory immediately or as early as possible by using anaerobic jars. Then after pure culture, by using hoof agar plates, you can use Brucella agar with 5% sheep blood for the isolation, using heming and vitamin K for its propagation. These are the pictures that are showing primary isolation of foot organism, that is Diclobacter nodosus, on hoof agar plates. Another diagnostic protocol is by using PCR. Using PCR of 16S ribosomal RNA, FIMEA gene or INTA gene. Then coming to the treatment. In general, prompt treatment within 3 days of onset of lameness is highly effective, and different antibiotics can be used like oxytetracycline, fluorphenicol, amoxicillin, penicillin, streptomycin, lincomycin, pectinomycin, erythromycin, pilmicocin, and enterofloxacin. So here nowadays, because of the advent of One Health program, there is a little bit classification among the usage of antibiotics. So high priority, critically important antibiotics were listed by WHO. Here comes the list with macrolides and quinolines. In case of macrolides, erythromycin, gamithromycin, and pilmicocin, quinolines, enterofloxacin. They come under these high priority antibiotics. So whenever there's a need, veterinarians should use these antibiotics. That means that they have they ask to reduce the usage of these antibiotics as feed additives, etc. But if the case wants us, we can use these antibiotics. So generally use of NSAIDs is underutilized in case of sheep, but the animal is feeling a lot of pain because of the damage to the hoof, etc. In majority of the diseases, NSAIDs usage is very, very important to reduce or to lessen the pain of the animal. Flunixin meglumine is the one which is helpful to reduce the pain at the dose rate of 1.1 milligrams per kg body weight. And the managemental practices. Foot trimming is very, very important. Next, foot bath. So here the level of this solution of foot bath, it should be at least 6 centimeters deep, and the animal should stay in that foot bath for at least 10 minutes. So after foot bathing, sheep must remain on a firm and clean floor until hooves get dried. And the most commonly used disinfectants for foot bath are zinc sulfate solution, formaldehyde, and copper sulfate solution. So this zinc sulfate solution, 15 to 18% zinc sulfate solution is required as a foot bath. Later on, keep the animal in a dry environment so that the foot get disinfected. The author Greber et al., he mentioned that he has successfully eliminated the virulent strain of Diclobacter nodosus from 20 sheep flocks using 10% zinc sulfate disinfectant solution within 6 to 19 weeks of weekly foot bathing, without the use of antibiotics and with minimal culling of animals. That means he is giving the importance of foot bath in reducing the occurrence of foot rot. Alternative foot bath is 2 to 5% formaldehyde, but do not exceed 5% because above 5% it leads to the damage to the hoof cracks or hardening of the hoof takes place. And another thing is generally formaldehyde, it is not effective in organic compounds. So if the solution gets dirty with the organic compounds, the effectiveness of the formaldehyde gets reduced. And another solution one can use is 5% copper sulfate as food bath. But the problem with the 5% copper sulfate, though it is very effective in the organic matter, but the problem with this is copper toxicity. Do not pour this copper sulfate in water bodies because it immediately causes copper toxicity in the animals. Another thing, if the animals are not, if the animals hasn't taken water for a long duration of time, and if you subject these animals for food bathing with copper sulfate, they immediately take the copper sulfate because of taste also. It's a little bit salty in its taste. So the animal takes that water and ultimately leads to the another complication, that is copper toxicity. So among these three food bath disinfectants, zinc sulfate is the best one. Then vaccination, we are at for the development of vaccine for Footrot, monovalent or bivalent vaccines to avoid immunological competition between the vaccines. Serial approach of vaccine is required. Bivalent and monovalent vaccines at 3 months interval was shown to be effective. And another important thing with the Footrot is, suppose if there is dampness in the environment or in the farm and severe rain, in that case, one can spray the magnesium sulfate in the damp environment or in the shed to reduce the water level in that particular area. So to reduce that water level, one can spray magnesium sulfate. It is one of the managemental practice that can be used to reduce dampness in the farm or dampness in the shed.